Before we head into our next clip, I have a question to ask you. Are you part of the 16% of folks who are happy with Congress? Really? Or are you part of the 84% that are pretty upset? Now, we at TYT are always finding new ways for you to step in and make a difference. Our next clip is brought to you by fireyourcongressman.com. The URL obviously speaks for itself. This applies to your congressman or anyone else's for that matter. You can donate directly against any member of Congress you don't like. So head over to fireyourcongressman.com.
A breaking news story from yesterday indicated that congressional Republicans were planning on impeaching Rod Rosenstein. Now he is the Deputy Attorney General and he is serving as the Deputy Attorney General after Jeff Sessions recused himself following information indicating that he had contact with Russians that he did not disclose. Now this all has to do with the special counsel and the investigation into Russian meddling and Trump's alleged obstruction of justice. Congressional Republicans hate this, Trump hates this, and so one of the things that's been abundantly clear is that Trump wants to get rid of Bob Mueller. And the way you get rid of Mueller is by having an attorney general or deputy attorney general who's willing to fire him. He's the only one who could do that. Rod Rosenstein has been clear in his refusal to do that. So this is my speculation, but there's reason to believe that these congressional Republicans want to get rid of Rosenstein so they can replace him with someone who would be willing to fire Mueller. Now,
that's barely speculation. Yeah. I mean, they've said over and over again that they don't think that they should be doing the investigation. So this whole thing's a fig leaf to say, oh yeah, I'm worried he's not turning over documents. I want him to tell me in the middle of an active investigation what specifically they are so we can leak them.
So the reasoning that these congressional Republicans give for wanting to impeach him is completely bogus, and we will prove it on the show today. No journalist, as far as I've seen, has discussed whether there's any validity to the claims that these congressional Republicans are making. But we looked into it, and we will give you the details on that in just a minute. Now, Mark Meadows, who was one of the leaders in pushing for articles of impeachment, has changed his tune a little today. So first, I want you to hear from Representative Mark Meadows himself, and then we will give you more details.
Really, for 9 months, we've asked for documents, and that's all we want are the documents. And what we found is not only have subpoenas been ignored, but information has been hidden. The efforts have been stonewalled. And I guess for us, it's all about transparency, so the American people can judge for themselves. And so, they may be able to ignore Congress, but they can't ignore the American people.
So that was what he was alleging earlier. He was clear that he wanted to move forward with the impeachment. However, he is changing his tune a little today. Representative Mark Meadows is tabling his efforts to impeach Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein after having meetings with Republican leadership, stating that he would instead pursue contempt if the Justice Department does not turn over documents Congress is seeking. Okay, so the allegation is they're not cooperating with Congress. They need to hand over documents that we want. Except they don't have to do that, okay? Now later we're gonna hear from Paul Ryan, who says that they are cooperating even though they don't need to. But just to be abundantly clear on this, let's go to graphic 49. The special counsel is not charged with providing a public accounting of his work. The results of a criminal investigation are typically publicly revealed only if a prosecutor brings criminal charges and presents evidence in court to prove those charges. Now, judicial precedent, this is based on rulings in the courts, suggests a possible path for Congress to obtain access to that evidence at the conclusion of the special counsel's investigation. Historically, the Justice Department has not provided to Congress investigative files concerning open investigations, even in response to subpoenas, for two principal reasons. So I'm gonna get into the reasons really quickly before you jump in, Cenk. First, under the federal rule of criminal procedure, Justice Department attorneys have a strict legal obligation to protect the confidentiality of matters concerning before the grand jury. Second, the attorneys have a broader duty to protect the integrity of ongoing investigations and to prevent congressional pressures from influencing the course of an investigation. Department participation in publicity about facts under investigation could also jeopardize any indictments that may be filed, possibly leading to dismissal. So those are the facts. But even so, it appears, based on what Paul Ryan has said, that the special counsel and Rod Rosenstein have been cooperating with Congress, even though they don't really need to.
The congressional Republicans say, hey, listen, I have subpoena power, so I want your materials, so period, end of discussion, you need to comply with my subpoena. So if you stop paying attention at that point, you might think, oh, well, Congress does have subpoena powers, but can they subpoena anything they want? The answer is no. Now, Anna just explained to you, but I'll put it in layman's terms, right? So, okay, so for example, maybe they're investigating someone who turns out to be innocent, but you got, and everything that goes to Congress gets leaked. Just keep it real. That's it. And they're planning to leak it. That's the whole point, right? So, so that they, if it's damaging, so they could start countering it ahead of time. If it's exculpatory, to immediately leak that to the press. These are politicians. You know how they are. And by the way, both sides will leak. If they have access to it, the Republicans will leak and the Democrats will leak, and they'll make it political. That's the whole point of this so-called, look into evidence, and we want to know. But you know at the end of the investigation, if you know in the middle and then you start leaking stuff and then they don't ever charge the guy, in this case it's Trump. If they don't charge Trump, but the Democrats start leaking information about him, that seems damaging. Well, that's not fair to Trump in this case. But the other possibility is also very real here. Now, imagine they're investigating someone you care about, a family member. They're looking into your dad, you love your dad. When you go, okay, then I'm in Congress, so what? I want to subpoena your investigation of my dad. And then I want to destroy that investigation by leaking anything that's to my advantage. Every rational person would say, no, you're not allowed to do that. And the law says you're not allowed to do that, right? In this case, Trump's their daddy. And they will do anything for him. So they're abusing the subpoena power here, which they have no right to. But they just play this political theater here and pretend to be the victims, which is, of course, conservative 101. You want to know what a conservative is going to do? They're going to cry. And they're going to say, oh my God, the Justice Department will not give us things that we have no right to. By the way, in this case, the Justice Department is Republican. And Rod Rosenstein is Republican.
And again, for the most part, based on what Paul Ryan is saying, cooperating with congressional Republicans. So look, what is really going on here? So do these Republican lawmakers genuinely care about Trump? Do they really think Trump is a good guy, a smart person, a good leader? No. What they do care about is the political ramifications of not speaking out against this investigation. So I'll give you an example. Right now, Paul Ryan is not seeking re-election. He will no longer be House Speaker as a result of that. So Republicans need to find a new House Speaker, and a bunch of people are putting in their bids, right? We have Steve Scalise, who wants to be House Speaker. We have Kevin McCarthy, who wants to be House Speaker. And we have other lawmakers who are considering doing this. Jim Jordan is putting his name in the hat as well. Now, they know that in order to get voted or get the support of the House Freedom Caucus, they need to support Trump and go after the special counsel, go after the Russia investigation. And that is exactly what we're seeing. So let's hear from Jim Jordan, who is puffing up his chest and trying to be a warrior against this Russia investigation.
We have sent numerous letters to Rod Rosenstein they haven't complied with, 2 subpoenas they haven't complied with. We've caught the Department of Justice hiding information, redacting information that they should not have redacted. We know that Rod Rosenstein threatened House Committee Intel staffers, threatened them, chilling impact when they were trying to do their job, our job of doing the constitutional oversight we're supposed to do. And we all know what the Justice Department did with the dossier. Never forget, Rod Rosenstein signed the 3rd renewal, signed that, which was based on the dossier, which we know parts of it came from Bruce Orr, high-ranking official, through his wife Nellie, the whole ordeal. So we're tired of the Justice Department giving us the finger and not giving us the information we're entitled to do our constitutional duty. More importantly, the American people are sick of it.
So I want to quickly rebut everything that he said there, because he just flat out lied about a number of different things. First of all, just a quick point. Again, he is puffing up his chest, much like Steve Scalise is, in regard to this investigation and trying to impeach Rod Rosenstein. Also, the whole FISA debate that's going on, right? So he just said Rod Rosenstein signed that FISA warrant. Okay, but that FISA warrant was approved by a judge, and each FISA warrant that got extended, right, or the FISA warrant that continued getting extended, it was extended by a judge who found probable cause. They're talking about the FISA warrant on Carter Page.
Carter Page, it says in the affidavit, it's over 400 pages long, confirmed by everyone who investigated it, including all the Republicans in the Justice Department who investigated it, including every single judge, was a foreign agent for the Russian government. So that's why they did a warrant. They're like, well, we have a foreign agent working in one of the major campaigns. And by the way, it could be that Carter Page was working by himself for the Russian government and maybe even against Trump. So of course they did a warrant because they know they suspect that he's a foreign agent. They have probable cause. You get a warrant, it might be that you're protecting the campaign from having a Russian agent inside of it. So there's no bias here at all. It's total nonsense. They just say, oh, by definition, he did a FISA warrant against someone inside the Trump campaign, so he must be guilty. That's not logic, that's just partisanship.
And they want to appeal to the House Freedom Caucus to ensure that they will get the support necessary to be the House Speaker. So again, that was the case with Jim Jordan. Another representative is Steve Scalise, and I want to read you his statement in regard to this whole ordeal. Let's go to graphic 19. He says, I would, meaning I would vote in favor of impeachment, because right now, Rosenstein has not done his job in complying with Congress. Not true. If he wants to comply and turn over the documents, we won't have this conversation. But if he's not going to do the job that he's required to do, he's not required to hand anything over, and comply with the subpoenas from Congress, there are other tools that we have to use. And what they're referring to there is contempt. They are going to pursue him and say that he is in contempt. So
the House Freedom Caucus is filled with maniacs, these 30 incredible right-wingers who say, no, Trump's right about everything, I don't care. I don't care, just fire everyone who might investigate Trump. And the leader of that group, along with Mark Meadows, is Jim Jordan. He's the one that actually put together this insane idea to impeach a fellow Republican, Rod Rosenstein, Deputy Attorney General, for doing his job. By the way, one of the things that he mentioned in that Fox clip was, oh, he has threatened other prosecutors. Yeah, he's like, you are not allowed to give evidence that we are compiling in an active and open investigation to political hacks who will then leak it. Of course you're not allowed to do that, right? So he's done his job. So look at me giving credit to a Republican for doing his job, okay? So now these extreme right-wingers like Jim Jordan, they go, oh, no, hey, Scalise, and Scalise is also crazy in his own right, but he's not part of the leadership of the House Freedom Caucus, et cetera. Scalise, all these other guys, don't worry, come here. Just be as pro-Trump as we are, Trump. And what do? Like, we're not gonna support you anyway. We're just gonna run Jim Jordan. So Scalise isn't gonna get their vote. All those other guys aren't gonna get their vote. They're just gonna back Jim Jordan because he's the biggest maniac of them all. And by the way, as he runs for Speaker of the House, look, I didn't make a big deal out of this. We covered it. You can go see our video on it. This guy's accused of covering up
sexual assault
when he was a wrestling coach in Ohio State. Look, I got mixed feelings about that case. It was a long time ago. He didn't do it. It was a doctor. And the Hill, by the way, now the media, the way that they work with the Republicans is maddening. Now in the Hill story, they said some of the students came out and said Jim Jordan did not know about the abuse. Yeah, that's true. And some of the students came out and said he did know. He told us that he knew. But the Hill didn't even write that. They're so conservative, it's unbelievable. So they're covering for Jim Jordan. So look, if you say, hey, look, I don't know where to come out on that Jim Jordan story, I hear you because that's because you're a fair person, okay? Or you say, I do know where to come out on it, he covered up for that. And there's so many of those students who said, yes, he definitely knew, right? But think about if it was the shoe was on the other foot.
Oh, we know what would happen.
Oh, if there was a Democrat who might be Speaker of the House and they were accused of covering up a child sex scandal, a real one, okay? What do you think they would do? Every ad in the country against every Democrat would be that this Democrat wants this child abusing, supporting, cover up monster to be the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
But hey, Republicans are really, really sensitive. You don't want to trigger them. They need their safe space because they will cry and cry and cry and go, oh, liberal media, why won't you report our illegal requests from the Justice Department, from our own Justice Department that we appointed?
Exactly.
Why won't you let us do these political hatchet jobs?
Exactly.
And well, we're not going to let you get away with it.
Right. Now, to give you shockingly, some voices of reason in response to all of this. We have Paul Ryan and Jeff Sessions standing by Rosenstein. And so I want to go to Ryan first and pay close attention to what he says about people complying with what Congress wants.
Do I support impeachment of Rod Rosenstein? No, I do not. I do not for a number of reasons. First, I don't think we should be cavalier with this process or with this term. Number one. Number two, I don't think that this rises to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors, a really high standard. Number three, we, since I got involved, have been getting a lot of compliance from DOJ on the document requests. We do not have full compliance, and we have to get full compliance, but we've been making tremendous progress to that point.
So 3 things there. Number one, he's like, they're giving us everything. They've given us a lot of documents. That's the leader of the Republicans in the House saying that, right? Number 2 is, he says, does this rise to high crimes and misdemeanors? That's what you impeach people for. You didn't allow us to look into your active investigation, which is the correct interpretation of the law. That's a high crime and misdemeanor. And point number 3 is, he's like, let's not be cavalier in this process. You know what that means? He's like, knuckleheads, you go and impeach Rod Rosenstein on nothing. Well, you just set a precedent that we could impeach people based on very, very little.
That's right.
So if the Democrats get control of the House,
they wouldn't do anything. Let's keep it
I mean, you know the Democrats. The corporate Democrats will do nothing. They'll just lie down and go kidding about the resistance. But they could use that precedent and go, hey, you just impeached your own deputy attorney general over nothing. Wait till you see what we got on Trump. So Paul Ryan's like, you idiots. No, we do not want to go down this road as Republicans.
So let's also hear from Jeff Sessions.
My deputy, Rod Rosenstein, is highly capable. I have the highest confidence in him. You probably know, not only did he go to the Wharton School of Business, but graduated from Harvard right here in this area. So what I would like Congress to do is to focus on some of the legal challenges that are out there. We need Congress to deal with the immigration question. There are loopholes in our laws that are being exploited. We need to get them focused, and we're pleading with them to do so. Our job and our enforcement officers' jobs are far more difficult than they need to be. Common sense legislation can make a big difference. That's where I'd like to see them focus their time.
This isn't a side note, obviously, but like leave it to Jeff Sessions to like make you a little happy by saying something reasonable and then immediately punch you in the face with his nonsense.
Yeah, no, but that goes to the point we're making, which is that, look, Paul Ryan's not a good guy.
Yeah.
He's given everything to the rich, and now he wants to cut Social Security and Medicare. Jeff Sessions is a terrible guy. He says, look, I don't want him doing this, basically what is in essence a witch hunt, funny enough, right? Instead, I want him cracking down on immigrants. Let's go back to Republican 101. We hate immigrants. Can you pass me a law that says that so I can crack down on them even tougher? None of these guys are remotely moderate, let alone progressive or anything like that. They are deep right-wingers, and they're saying, of course you shouldn't impeach him over this. This is so stupid. Finally, on a super side note, I am amused that now apparently there is one sign of credibility, and I get this online from time to time. They're like, oh, you called Donald Trump stupid. Well, you didn't go to a school like Wharton. You're right, I didn't go to a school like Wharton. I went to Wharton. So apparently the new Republican ideology is if Rosenstein and Trump went to Wharton, it must be awesome. And anyone who went there is really smart. I'll take it, thank you. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.